What's going up, everybody? It's SJG. Welcome to HBCU Game Day. We got a special live edition for you guys because we got some big time breaking news, and I got a big time special guest. So before I bring her on, the cat's already out of the bag. If you follow HBCU Game Day, if you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and follow us and download that HBCU Game Day app. All of our news is going to be on there. And so the big news of today in the last 24 hours has been that Tarik Cohen, North Carolina A&T's own, someone who's definitely familiar with HBCU Game Day. We kind of came up as he came up with North Carolina A&T. He is now a member of the Carolina Panthers. And so, I didn't know for sure it was going to happen until I got our next guest on my Twitter feed, because she's who I go to for all my Carolina Panthers news. So I am going to go ahead and bring her in. She is the CEO, founder, and all boss lady and all around badass, Vashti Hurt of Carolina Blitz. Vashti, welcome to HBCU Game Day.
Thanks for having me, Stephen.
That's my pleasure. It's great to be able to talk to you in this manner. We go back quite a bit of ways. So I really love the work that you're doing at Carolina Blitz. Holding it down for not just Charlotte but the entire Carolina. So how's it going?
It's good. I mean, we got big news. So of course, this is a great way to kind of merge our media platforms. So I love it.
Yeah, no doubt. So again, the big news, Tarik Cohen, he's a former North Carolina A&T star, had a great career going with the Chicago Bears, had some ACL injuries. And I guess about 24 hours ago now, when news started to trickle in to the folks who aren't insiders like you, who aren't there every day in Charlotte, about Tarik Cohen getting his tryouts. Kind of take us through what brought this on, what roster situation brought it on, to educate us a little bit.
Well, I think that the Panthers have been looking for a solid return game since Damiere Byrd went down during training camp, and then they signed Smith Marset, who was their kick returner during the Atlanta Falcons loss. And he kind of had a questionable fielding of the punt. He wasn't the greatest in that capacity. And I think that the Panthers are just looking for playmakers. And I think that, they feel that Tarik will be able to at least make an immediate impact in that return game with his speed and talent.
Yeah, so again, we're talking with Vashti Hurt of Carolina Blitz. It's a great publication. Everybody who is not following her, make sure you go to the website every day, because we know that is super important to support Black-owned sports entities. And also make sure if you're not following her on Twitter already, you've probably already seen her tweets. You had a great tweet about Colorado and Deion Sanders of Colorado beating Matt Rule. So let me see if I can slide that on there. But yeah, so obviously Tarik is a guy. He played in high school football at Bunn High School over in the eastern part of North Carolina. Major player in North Carolina A&T. Kind of in that pre-Deion Sanders era where a lot of people that are checking for HBCUs now weren't really checking for him then. Kind of, what's your first recollection of Tarik Cohen? I would guess it'd probably be from those A&T days in the backflips.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, the backflips, but also, really putting A&T specifically and HBCUs on a map when he was at Chicago. And it kind of took everybody by storm because, people, unfortunately, they don't expect or they aren't aware of the talent that's at that HBCU level. So for him to be drafted in the fourth round, not only be drafted, but be a Pro Bowl caliber player from North Carolina A&T. And of course, me being in North Carolina, his impact on the state and the exposure that he gave to that university will be unmatched. And I even see it in my mentions. I posted an interview. We talked to him in the locker room today. And I'm telling you that Aggie pride is shining through, but not just Aggie pride. I think that, folks from around the state in general who are familiar with who he is and just support him as a man, know his struggle and what he's been through these last few years, and also support HBCU football in general, are rooting for him.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head. He's a guy, his career started in 2012, HBCU Game Day. 2013, he started at A&T. I started Game Day in 2012. So kind of merging into those eras. And yeah, it goes beyond. I mean, obviously the folks at A&T are ecstatic for him, and rightfully so. But those of us who are far from Aggies, I mean, might some of us might have on the sidelines might have even found ourselves cheering for him because he was an electrifying player. But like you say, so many. He's just so much deeper than that. He's a young man that had a chance to just kind of watch grow from afar, covering him from at A&T for those couple of years, and he really put not only North Carolina A&T but HBCU football on his back for quite a while. And again, go to the Bears, and a lot of people were skeptical because before him, the last HBCU running back wasn't picked until it was like 1998. So, that's a long gap, a lot of running backs, and a lot of people question whether he could do that in the NFL. And then, to see him do what he did in Chicago was absolutely amazing. I know you talked to him, and also Sheena talked to him about, coming back to North Carolina, obviously. Talk a little bit about that and just kind of what he told you guys about coming back to his home state.
Yeah, he said that he was adamant. I believe Drew Rosenhaus is his agent. But he was adamant that he wanted to be here in Carolina. That was his top choice. He did admit that, he was shopping, his agent was shopping around other teams, but he said as he was working out in High Point, North Carolina with his old strength and conditioning coach, as he was going through those workouts and as he was, staying ready, that playing for the Carolina Panthers were on his mind going through that process. He talked about how he got the call yesterday. He said it was a long call. He said he was actually playing 2K with his family or with his friends, I guess, and he was trying to stay cool on the phone. But then after he hung up the phone, it was just, I guess everything exploded. And it's crazy. His girl dropped the news on Twitter and Instagram first. So shout out to his wife leaking the news. Adam didn't give her props, but I will on this platform. And so, yeah, it seemed like a very exciting thing for him. I asked him about how it feels, not just to put on for himself, but to put on for the state, to put on for A&T. And he says, that's what he thinks about when he steps onto the field. It's not just himself, but all of the people who have supported him along the way. And I just think that this is not just a good story, but a good opportunity for him to make a comeback in this league and with a team that just so happens to be a home team who needs, some playmakers. So.
Yeah, you talk about his story, and he's been very adamant about it. He had the ACL injury a couple years ago, and unfortunately, he lost two brothers in between that time span. We also did have a son as well, so a lot of ups and downs for him. I saw him at the Celebration Bowl in Atlanta back in December, and he looked like he was obviously still keeping himself in shape and getting ready for this opportunity. So, what they say about opportunity and preparation, when they meet.
Absolutely.
You talk about too, as far as, him on the team. There's also another young man that played for A&T, Ricky Lee, on the team. I think they also signed one of the guys from Alcorn State from the Jets to the practice squad as well. So, North Carolina, we have the most HBCUs that play football. And, one of the criticisms has kind of been that the Panthers haven't really taken a lot of time to really look at a lot of HBCU players, or hasn't. I don't think they've ever. I think the only HBCU player they've ever drafted, if I'm not mistaken, may be Tyrone Poole in their first draft out of Fort Valley State. So just talk about just the HBCU guys that are there for the Panthers now.
Yeah, Ricky Lee made the 53, and he was one of those guys that kind of shocked everybody when he made the 53-man roster. But James Campen and Coach Wright have spoken very highly of him. And I think the other guy that they just signed, I'm not as familiar with him. But with injuries along the offensive line, honestly, in a rotational type role, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Ricky Lee on the field some, despite being a rookie. And it's just a testament to HBCU football. Dion is kind of put the spotlight on it because of who Dion is. But HBCU football has been lit way before that happened, and it's going to continue to be lit now that he's gone. And there'll be others who come and help shine a light on that. And so, guys like when Tarik Cohen is making this comeback, if he's able to write his story like we all hope he's able to, that will shine an even bigger light on HBCUs here, A&T, and their football program. So I just think it's all love. I'm all for the culture. I'm all for us and us getting our shots. And so when you see guys like Ricky Lee and like Tarik Cohen have an opportunity to play at the highest level, is always good.
Yeah, speaking of the culture, man, I want to give you your flowers while you're on here. I know I've been, following you as you've grown your platform over the years. Independent. I know how tough it is to be independent, Black-owned media, and so and then also being a woman in a male-dominated field. It's just amazing what you've been able to do. I know the perseverance, the long nights, and the hard work, and all that comes along with that. So I wanted to take this time, to salute you. For doing everything that you do. I mean, you're not just covering the Panthers. You're covering, the ACC. The I guess we can count South Carolina as the SEC. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So, just talk to everybody and tell everybody how they can continue to follow your work and follow Carolina Blitz.
Yeah, I mean, we're social. You can follow us on Twitter at Keep Blitzing, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Carolina Blitz, and of course carolinablitz.com for our written coverage. So we kind of give you, what you want on different levels. We try to meet you at those levels. So we appreciate this, and I of course appreciate you, Stephen. I mean, you got a studio, man. You popping.
Hey! I'm messing. I appreciate you, no doubt, Vashti. Appreciate you guys so much. So everybody, make sure you support Vashti and Carolina Blitz, and hopefully, there will, it won't be long before we have to link up again and talk about what Tarik is doing on the field, as well as Ricky Lee and whoever else may trickle onto the Panthers from the HBCU world. So I really appreciate you giving us some of your time and insight for this big move, which is really, like you say, it's of course, North Carolina A&T's Tarik Cohen, but bigger than that as well. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Well, look, that is it. Just a quick, short. It's not quite a, it's not quite a quick blitz like her colleague like to do, but it'll do. I appreciate you so much, guys. Stay tuned for more HBCU Game Day, and make sure you guys are downloading that app. Peace.